Coming to you from Dynatrace Perform in Las Vegas, it's Pure Performance.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pure Performance and Perf Bytes, coming to you from Dynatrace Perform 2019 in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas.
Yes, I'm Brian Wilson, and once again, my co-host is not Andy Grabner because he's running around like a madman these days. So I had to settle for having the one and only Mark Tomlinson from Perf Bytes.
Yeah,
Hi, Mark.
second tier guest to the Pure Performance world. Yeah, I mean, just to fill in for some other people. But actually, I'm really glad to be here. This is really good, and this has been really fun.
Yes, and Mark, I want to tell you we have with us now, just getting out of his session, Steve, hopefully I'll get it right. It seems like it should be Steve in Morocco.
That's correct.
That's what I thought. Awesome.
Like the country.
And you are from RBC, right? You're the Senior Technical Systems Analyst?
Yes, I am from RBC.
What if people don't know what RBC is?
Oh, that's a good question.
Okay. You know, there could be a lot of acronyms out there.
There could be.
You're right. That was my mistake.
It is.
So RBC actually stands for the Royal Bank Company. That's why sometimes you will see it as RBC Bank of Canada.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Don't quote me on that.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's just go with it. All right.
I know there was some different. There's different like legal terminations for corporations and stuff in Canada. So.
Yeah, I'm not part of any of that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're from the Great White North?
I am from the Great North, based out of Toronto, Canada.
Awesome. Welcome to the States.
Thank you. Beautiful here.
So have you been in Las Vegas before then or no?
No, this is my first time. Super excited.
Awesome.
We can give you one piece of advice.
Please.
Which is if you leave, even if you're down just a little bit, it's a win. Consider yourself lucky.
I don't know how to take that.
It could be, in money. Like if you're up or down in terms of money. Like
I
don't
understand.
lose too much. Because it could end up like the guys in the Hangover movie.
Oh, God.
And he didn't mean like if you leave and you're sad.
Depressed. No, I wasn't talking about it. If you're a little bit sad.
Was the presentation that bad? Be honest, guys. Just be honest.
That's right. Well, let's.
So I love the title of your presentation, but obviously I couldn't get in there to see it because Mark and I are quite busy over here. But the title of your presentation is Robotic Process Automation, which sounds awesome, especially coming from the fact that our software was originally developed and still mostly maintained over in Austria, home of Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's the Terminator. So now we're talking about robotic process automation. What is this?
It's funny you ask because about 6 months ago I had the exact same questions you had. So right now, and especially in the banking world, and I'm going to say probably in the enterprise world, RPA or robotics process automation has become quite the buzzword.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much how it's used in RBC is that those tedious tasks that nobody likes to do, that wastes hundreds of man hours, are now being automated by these robots. And to give like a very high level how this works is we have this product called Blue Prism, which is a vendor product. I don't know much about the company themselves, but their product is phenomenal. I can't say anything bad about that. And it pretty much has a bunch of these little virtual desktop environments that are hosted on our cloud solution here within RBC. So it's on premise. And they have a server, and they just execute all these business processes that the business users actually create. Fortunately enough, the way this tool, Blue Prism, is created is that it has a very intuitive interface. So there's actually not really much coding unless you really want to develop these processes, which is great because who better to create an application than the business users themselves, right? So that's just a very high level understanding of what RPA is. If you want me to go in more detail, I'm more than happy to do that.
Well, before we go into I just want to bring up one thing. It confused me because you had the term robotic, and this is maybe a conversation for a different day. But to me, I guess I would always assume a robot entailed some sort of robot, some mechanical component with a computer brain. But it sounds like this is more of an automated type of script sort of. Basically, it's a fancier word for what we kind of term regularly is just like an automated process, right? Or am I just thinking of it too simplistically?
You know what? That's kind of what it is. How I like to look at it is it's just the robot with just the brain.
Yeah.
So it's not smart in a sense, but it does what you tell it to do.
It can't pick up a machine gun like Arnold and come after us.
Right. Or in Terminator, is it Terminator 2 where the melty guy does the melting thing? Remember the melting version of
the melty guy?
The T3 was
yes, that's Terminator 2.
No, but it's like, it's like all the if you think about modern like AI, machine learning and stuff, it's sort of all of the Blue Prism combines like all the different aspects of what it for the creation of the brain, everything from like problem solving, the collaboration piece, and all of the knowledge and insight algorithms, right?
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
But I'll support that.
Okay.
So I guess
you should be a diplomat, by the way.
That's actually my future profession. I'm just here in technology for a while.
Yeah, that's fine.
Get my roots set right. Cool. Okay, to be a little bit more specific then regarding developing an RPA process, is there's a spy tool that they like to call it, where you can actually let it track your motions and your clicks. So, for example, say, I know this happens within the bank a lot. We have a website that has I'm going to over-exaggerate for a second, but 1 million different type of filtering options to extract data from. So instead of having a user do this all the time, we get the bot to do it ourselves. And say there's future calculations, and even in Excel, you can have it set up macros, have it do its own calculations, and spit out a result.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's pretty much like a high-level understanding how it is, how it's utilized here anyway.
So getting to the Dynatrace part of the implementation, I think, is the coolest part, right?
My favorite part.
Yeah.
So where does it fit in?
So once you have this is my opinion on any application and any infrastructure. Once you have such a large infrastructure, you can't leave it unmonitored, right? And I know you guys probably know that better than anyone else. So how this kind of all started, which is pretty cool, is my manager comes up to me and he's like, hey, we have over 400 virtual desktop environments. We have 500 processes across the bank executed daily. We need to monitor this. People, when something goes wrong and something goes down, nobody is aware. And I'm like, okay, let's start from somewhere. What's currently being done? And I've found out that we actually have users who are watching this thing that Blue Prism provides called Mission Control. And it's a thick client that sits on the server itself that will tell you if a process is running or not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm very, very against eyes on glass.
Sure.
I don't think anybody, I think there's better ways of spending our time. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but you shouldn't have somebody just sitting there looking and waiting for a process to fail.
Yeah.
What if you go for lunch? What if that's all plausible.
Yeah, it doesn't scale. Everyone knows that.
Exactly, it doesn't scale. So, quick little background about myself. I've actually worked with Dynatrace products for about a little bit over 3 years now. More familiar with Atmon than I am with Dynatrace SaaS or manage what we use in the bank. So my manager knew this, came up to me. He's like, can Dynatrace help us here? And I'm like, I have no idea. So I stepped away and went to one of my good friends, Google. And I asked it a question, and it spit out a result written by David Jones. And it was an article about actually RPA monitoring using Dynatrace SaaS or managed. So I gave him a little reach out, asked him, we had a quick call, did some digging around, and we actually figured out that it was a viable solution. So I want to step back for 1 second, if that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
Perfect. So we had a user group in May of this year. And this is the first user group I've been to in about 2 years since then. Anyway, this is when they actually advertised Dynatrace SaaS and One Agent. And I remember seeing this all on the screen, seeing them demonstrating all this like really cool stuff, how simple One Agent and how Dynatrace Manage uses AI and all of this stuff to, predict do problem analytics and all of that stuff. First thing I said, though, this is unbelievably not true. I'm like, I cannot believe that a product can be this simple and do so much. So I remember going off and I was talking to a few other people from Dynatrace saying, I don't believe it. I literally don't think this is true. Like, then try it out. So come to now, I go to install a One Agent, right? And I'm actually very familiar with the manually installation Atmon agents. And as great as they are, they can be quite tedious.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I go to our managed portal. I download the agent. I run the installer. I click 2 buttons, and it says it's done. I didn't set up a host connection. I didn't tell it a collector to point to. I'm like, how does it even know where to go?
And then magically a pizza shows up delivered.
That's it.
You didn't even ask for it. It just knew that you needed pizza after you did that.
I actually thought it broke. I thought like it just installed and was sitting there. Go back to our portal. There it is. My host is being identified. My processes just need to be restarted.
I was going to say, I'm telling you, when we all started seeing that for the first time too, a few years back, we kind of had the same reaction. Like, wait, what just happened?
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's so impressive. And everybody loves to pick on things, right? Especially in this industry. So I was like, where's the mess up? What else do I have to do? There's got to be a catch. And there's nothing. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It was so brilliant, actually, that a guy who has no idea, a colleague of mine who has no idea what Dynatrace is, I just gave him the installer. I'm like, can you put this on a few more virtual desktop environments? He's like, what do I do? I'm like, just run it. I went out for lunch, came back. We had 15 more virtual desktop environments instrumented, just like that.
Awesome.
So someone who had no experience with this, didn't even know what the tool was able to install this. So that was and this is like without even automated deploys or anything fancy like that. That was a huge win right there on its own, right? So we have no configuration. We have instant identification. So right now I'm just going to go on about the benefits of what we've seen so far using Dynatrace with Blue Prism RPA. If you want me to continue or stop.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and kind of hit kind of share with us the highlights thing. Like, what's been the biggest thing you've overcome, or the biggest problem you've solved?
Okay, so as I was saying earlier, before we didn't have really any monitoring on the actual virtual desktop environments themselves, and this is going to seem quite minuscule, obviously, to you guys working with such large applications, but for our run the bank team, so consider that prod support, this was a game changer. So now after that simple installation, we go in and we automatically have all of the host information, right? Like CPU, memory, and disk.
Yep.
We also know that when the application, so this quick FYI, this application is very, very database heavy, meaning that it logs actually everything to a database.
Wow.
So if anything happens with the database, this thing's not working. So I was sitting with RTB and they're like, I'm just showing them off. I'm showing them the problem analytics, I believe, dashlet, if that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Where it just shows you all the issues and it lists like 3 VDIs just red. And they're like, oh, that VDI. I'm like, yeah. They're like, we spent the morning looking at that. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, there's an issue with it. Look at it. This space is at 0. So I know that's very simple, but how they were able to just automatically see and know what was wrong using our managed portal.
Yeah.
They were very impressed and happy with this. Along with that, it also helped identify a database connection issue right off the bat. Someone is like, well, why aren't the processes working? Look over, just says there, right in that perfect little dashlet, database error, connection interrupted, X, Y, and Z. And, and what I'm trying to get at right now is that instant delivery from the product.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that there was no configuration needed. We literally had to install an agent, restart a service, and that was it. And we get all of that out of the box.
Yeah.
So coming with people that have no APM experience or people that do, such as myself, that's just a massive win in my eyes alone.
Yeah. Let me ask a little bit, Steve. Did the landscape of all the different apps that you have, you're not an expert in all of them. Like if you're working in APM, it's like somebody brings in vendor X, vendor Y, blah, blah, blah. These database connection things are like the monitoring pieces you get by default are like, well, these are really common things that affect any kind of app or any kind of client. So did you find that's sort of the Dynatrace taking the most common things and boiling them up, but also gets applied across a wide breadth of the applications you guys have in production? Are
we talking applications as a whole right now?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, for sure. So actually coming from my past, my old application was the most heavily monitored application in the bank.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure we had over 200 agents installed in production alone. Wow. So it was quite an impressive application. It was our digital check processing application. So that was just, yeah. So Dynatrace does a great job is just, grabbing those simple errors that, people could go and scrape logs and probably eventually find and presenting them to you right away. It reduces having a war room for people with. I've been in a war room for 2 days before over an issue that nobody knew what was going on because we had no insight to the application. And then once we got Dynatrace installed, that pretty much went from days to hours. I think even minutes at one point.
Yeah, I've been part of that when I used to be a customer way back, but that's on the Atmon side. But speaking of Atmon, I want to do a slight little pivot here, only because you said you had experience with Atmon in the past. I think you said about 3 years or so, right?
Yeah.
Was that it? And then you're moving over to Dynatrace. Now, coincidentally, on Monday during the hot day sessions, the class I was doing was Dynatrace for Atmon users, where we're trying to train people on how to use Dynatrace if you're coming from an Atmon background, and maybe some different ways of approaching things. You went through this obviously yourself there. What did you find the experience was from transitioning from Atmon to Dynatrace? As you know, it's not a one-to-one type of transition. Some things are different. Some things don't exist anymore. Some things you think about differently. What's your experience, and what'd you take away from that?
So in terms of a learning curve, we've already spoken about OneAgent and how that's adopted,
Right,
and how great that is. So there's a special place in my heart for Atmon, just because I'm the most experienced with it.
Yep.
We should have some theme music for the nostalgia of
you know
Atmon,
what?
don't you
Can we
think?
do that?
It's a great tool. I was about to use an expletive, but it really, it really is. I can't. I used it for I don't know 6 years or so. So yeah, I'm right there with you. But obviously
Yeah.
things change, right? Things move on. Is there anything that? What do you find is improved? What do you find is better? Is there anything that you're still really, really missing? I mean, things change a lot. Obviously, every 2 weeks we have a new release. I don't know if you're up to date on the latest things, but what's your experience been with that switchover?
Can I be honest?
Yeah, please.
Lack of clicking.
You're saying you clicked more in Atmon or less in Atmon?
More in Atmon to get where I needed to go.
So if you have a exercise routine, you're doing less work. So you need to make up for it by maybe doing extra steps. Like you got more exercise using Atmon because you had to click more. And with
Exactly. And I know that sounds like that's not a good way of talking about the product.
Great. It's ease.
No.
It's ease.
It is though, and that's the thing is I appreciated more. Everything was in Manage is kind of like, of course, when you first open it, it's a new application, right? I'm like, okay, what do I do? But you know what? I didn't find it difficult to click around and kind of figure things out. I remember going to the Smartscape view, and that was like a game changer. The reason why is because some people, and I think this was mentioned at the user group I was at, they don't understand, especially with large applications, what's going on, who communicates to what's everything doing. So the way how Smartscape will show you how these applications are communicating in a nice spider web, that was a really cool feature.
Yeah.
But just back to the comparison really quick. So in Atmon, when you're creating a measure, creating a BT, there was a lot of shortcuts to get into that. And that kind of doesn't exist in Dynatrace, quote me if I'm wrong, in a similar sense.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, RPA, Blue Prism, doesn't really have an entry point. It doesn't have an API or a request portal. So we had to do a custom service, which was extremely easy. Because I remember in Atmon, running a CPU sample and then having to just grind through all the methods and classes to figure out which one that I needed to do. Whereas with Managed, I was able to just go into it, create a service, search the actual method name that I was looking for. It would pop up. Let me do a super class if I wanted to. Let me just instrument a method, and then if I wanted to get fancy, which I have been, go into a request attributes and instrument those with that. And that's actually which has been a vital, a really huge requirement for this Blue Prism automation effort. Or monitoring effort, sorry.
Yeah, and that was, I forget how long ago request attributes came in, but I remember that was a big sticking point for me because again, I came from, I'm on the pre-sale side, right? So I came from doing all the Atmon stuff to Dynatrace, and of course, if I had come to Dynatrace, the Dynatrace tool brand new, I wouldn't have known about all these other things. But I'm like, but what about this feature, that feature, that feature? And what I found was the most amazing thing is to really give our development team a shout out. Is they're on a 2-week release cycle, right? So when request, as soon as request attributes were ready in their initial form, they were in the product, right? And then it's collect feedback, improve, collect feedback, and continuously improve the feature, not just that feature, but any features. So that really, really helped because, back in the Atmon days, it was like 6 months for a major release.
Especially coming from like the client side and working for a bank, we have processes in place.
Yeah.
Like I think versioning is very. I think we were like 6 months behind whatever was currently released.
Yeah.
But now I think managed, we are on the 4-week.
Oh, cool.
Upgrade cycle, I think. If don't quote me on that, and don't go to anybody from RBC with that. I may be wrong.
But it's a lot faster, basically, though, right?
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's awesome. So and I think that's what really helps that transition is the fantastic work the development team is really pushing out these things that initially some features they might have thought, we're taking a new approach. As you said, no, let's get rid of eyes on glass. Let's get rid of this and that. Let's stop doing these old way of things. And so many of our customers came back and said, but we still need these. We're not ready to take the training wheels off. Or maybe some things really do serve a good purpose still. And, there's always cases where sometimes the product or development team might be a few steps ahead of where the public is. So the public isn't ready for giving up things. But the awesome thing was they were able to turn around and be like, okay, that is important for you still. Oh, well, we didn't think so. But here, let's toss it right back in. And within a few releases, it's all back in. Not all back in, but you know what I mean? It's very agile. They could really, really make these changes, which I think really helped with that transition.
Yeah, super impressive. Because I can only imagine the demands even coming from us.
Yeah.
To you guys, but what we want and stuff, right? Yeah. So again, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think anyone that's using any vendor tool in a highly regulated space with the compliance and all of the audit pieces you have to go through, managed means not just managing the complexities and the pain of keeping a Dynatrace implementation going, but you're also as a partner taking on liability and risk in the face of all of that compliance. And two of the other customers that I've been talking to have the same thing. They're like, if we go managed, then we have a partner that's, if it's not working, it's not 100% internal, especially when it comes to security breaches and things like that. So yeah, it sounds like it's working for the same good reasons for you, Stephen. That's good.
Yeah. And so I don't know, darn, I forgot what this is called. So pretty much how managed work, which I just found out recently, is it called mission control or mission something for you guys?
Mission control.
Yeah, because then you have Dynatrace 1 as well, don't you?
So Dynatrace 1 is sort of like a services help desk kind of thing.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to get at actually, it was really cool. So I was talking to David Jones and he was just like, what's your tenant ID? I'm like, well, this is on-prem. Why does it matter to you? Gave it to him anyway. And he was able to, check out what's been going on. Obviously with read-only access, and I'm assuming this has been dealt with from the security side at RBC because it's available. Oh, yeah. But it was so nice that I didn't have to be, okay, hold on, let me start up a WebEx, let me get you on a call. He was able just to help me then and there. And I really like that feature. I thought that was really cool.
And I think it's important to point out that's why it's called managed, right? You're hosting it, but you're making a call back with health checks back to our systems so that even if you're not aware of it, we could be like, hey, your disks are full. Did you guys realize that? Or if it's just even like a standard support ticket. Mm-hmm. We have access to some of the critical components of that. Obviously, we don't have access to the data you're collecting or anything like that. But that managed piece of is you're not alone anymore.
Yeah, which is exactly how the pizza got delivered right after you installed the 180.
Exactly.
Nice way to bring that all back, Mark.
We started off asking you, this will be your first time in Las Vegas. Is there anything you are looking to do
just for
when
fun?
You're in Las Vegas this week?
Well, so you guys have that Top Golf thing, MGM Ground.
Oh yeah, that's actually gonna be really fun, I think.
Yeah, so it's funny because I was talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, oh, I really want to go. She's like, well, just go. And then I get the invite. I'm like, this is destiny. This is fate.
Again, it's the telemetry on the managed install for Dynatrace.
Oh, you guys are too good.
And we get you to the social activities that you desire.
Brilliant. Aside from that, I've never been to a big casino before, so I'll check that out probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, walking the strip is, if the weather is nice, it should be quite nice when we're there.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you one last question before we go. We just had New Year, right? 2019. Woo! Everything's going to be better. That's what they always say. Yep, always the hope. Do you have any performance-related resolutions that you want to declare publicly for the whole world to hear?
Performance of myself or at work?
Thinking initially more like work, like performance, like system performance, like monitor, all this kind of stuff we're talking about. But if you have a professional performance thing you wanted to share instead, you can go ahead and do that.
No, this is actually, I was just talking to somebody about this, and pretty much I just want to help more people, I have a few presentations actually after Perform within RBC, just showing off the presentation I just did here. And, with how else we can instrument and utilize Dynatrace for other applications. So 2019 is going to be the year of wisdom for me. Give it one of those.
The year of paying it forward, sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your time. Are you spending any extra time after the conference is over?
Yeah, staying for the day Thursday and taking the red eye back to Toronto. So I'm hoping to maybe get some hiking in. I don't know, and just enjoy this beautiful weather. That's all that matters to me. It was negative 20 in Toronto like a week ago, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not going back to that.
All right, well, thank you for taking time and talking to us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Perform.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Bye.